Michael here with Valencia Fan TV, bringing you another video about the club we all love, Valencia. Be sure to subscribe for the latest news, predictions, as well as match recaps. I'm here to tell you that Valencia will win La Liga. It just won't be in 2023. Football goes in cycles. While it's easy to despair now and think we will always be in the state, owned by Peter Lim and fighting the likes of Getafe, Elche, and Almeria to stave off relegation, history will say otherwise. Valencia will win La Liga and maybe even the Champions League one day. Valencia has currently gone 20 years since we last tasted glory in 2003 and 2001. But prior to that recent golden era, it had actually been since 1970, which was a 30-year gap. Football is constantly evolving, so what other teams have done this recently? Liverpool went 30 years between 1989 to 2019 before Jurgen Klopp was successfully able to guide their team to the first title in some time, as well as the Champions League title. They did this with considerably less resources than rivals like City, Chelsea, and United. They made shrewd signings like Alisson Becker, Virgil van Dijk, and Mohamed Salah, and sold on aging players for a peak profit like Philippe Coutinho. Valencia will need to do similar things as we face clubs with larger budgets like Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid. In Italy, we've seen something even more incredible. Napoli had recently ended a drought which dated back to 1989 and Diego Maradona. They overcame teams that were significantly larger like Juve, Milan, and Inter by making smart signings. Closer to home in Spain, we saw Atletico Madrid, who overcame an 18-year hiatus from being league champions and even suffered relegation to win their first title in 2013. Atletico Madrid was able to find success because they finally found stability under Diego Simeone. This is the exact opposite of Valencia, who's experienced at least a dozen coaches over the last dozen years. Also on the Iberian Peninsula, Sporting had gone 19 years before winning the title in 2020. Sporting has less resources than Benfica and Porto. In France, we see teams all the time challenging PSG and actually winning the title on a fairly consistent basis, teams like Lyon and Monaco. So why will Valencia win? It's a numbers game. Valencia is the third largest metropolitan area in Spain with over 1.5 million people. We share our city with Levante, who currently sits in the second division. And while I do think Levante is a good club, they just can't compare for a fan base in the city with our team. Seville, which is the fourth largest city at 1.3 million people, has two relatively equal teams in Real Betis and Sevilla. While Sevilla has a slight edge, Betis really holds their own. Valencia has a much stronger position within our city than either Sevilla or Betis. It's a similar situation in Bilbao, where they have two big clubs, an Athletic Club and Sociedad. With a larger population, we can attract more supporters, and more supporters bring in more revenue and ultimately better players. At our peak, we had over 50,000 associates and had outgrown the Mestalla, hence the plans for the new Mestalla. When results improve, our numbers will naturally return to this prior level. Despite the poor performance, we can still see that Valencia draws amongst the best in La Liga and averages the sixth best attendance this year. Valencia also boasts a large foreign support network, as evidenced by our Peña, and as well as this channel. So how will Valencia actually win the championship? The first and most important thing is to finally find some stability. Peter Lim can stay as the owner, but he needs to be more consistent and can't be so rash to make decisions. The appointment of Baraja was our 10th manager in as many years, and this doesn't even count the interim managers like Voro. This needs to change. We saw Atletico Madrid finally change once they appointed Diego Simeone, and we can do the same. Whether it's Baraja or a different manager, that's the key for getting us back on track. Once we have a permanent manager, we can finally start building an identity for the club. We need to continue our production of great youth talent. Valencia currently ranks in the top 6 for youth academies across Europe. We consistently produce great talent like Alba, Gaia, Silva, Villa, and even most recently, Ferran Torres, who was recently sold for 55 million euros to Barcelona. Once we have these players, we need to make sure that we extend their contracts appropriately so they don't run down their contracts and force us on a quick sale like Torres ultimately did. Once we have these players, we need a bit of a golden generation. We need 3 or 4 of these players to come through at the same time. Players similar to that Gaia or David Silva level that can actually build a solid core of the team. We need to supplement this We need to supplement this core with several players from outside transfers that come on and boost the level of the entire squad as a whole. From there, we're going to need a bit of a down period from Barcelona and Real Madrid. We can't have them at their absolute peaks like they were in 2015 with Messi, Suarez, and Neymar. I think at that level of talent, it will be just too much to overcome. But with that being said, I firmly believe that given enough time, Valencia will be champions. We have a massive city, a massive club, we can produce young players, and there's no reason that we can't compete with the very best across from Spain and across from Europe as a whole. As always, I'm Moot Valencia, and I can't wait to celebrate our next championship with all of you.